So I usually end my videos on do you love it or do you hate it? Especially on these episode reviews, which, of course, this is our episode 4 review of She-Hulk. And I feel like this is one show that I don't have to ask, do you love it, do you hate it? Simply because I can look at the Rotten Tomato score and it clearly tells me that this is garbage. And no one is loving it, except maybe unless you are a film critic. If you're a film critic, you think this is pretty awesome stuff. But I will tell you my theory when it comes to that. I think they like the message that it is supposed to portray when it comes to the strong female character and all that, and it being Marvel and all. I think they're afraid of really bad reviews, and I think they like the message of it overall, but I don't think they're really caring the substance of it. They're not paying attention to the substance of it. So I think that's the reason why fans are looking at this so differently, because fans are looking at it going, wow, that was a complete and total waste of my time. I got so much time on this earth and I'm wasting it watching She-Hulk. What is wrong with me? You know, and what is wrong with Marvel for making me watch this? Or not making me, but putting this in my purview where that I feel like because I'm a Marvel fan, I should at least give it a shot. And every week it just keeps disappointing and disappointing and disappointing. And this week was pretty much of the same. Marvel, I'll tell you this, I feel like you are losing a lot of goodwill towards fans with this phase. You have Black Widow, you have the Falcon and Winter Soldier, you have Miss Marvel. I mean, you've got some really, really terrible shows. Really terrible. And shows and movies. I mean, Thor, Love and Thunder, what on earth was that? I mean, will I say, is it the worst? Is this the worst thing that Marvel has come out with? No. Actually, I don't believe it is. I think it's utter trash, and it's like the worst garbage that you can imagine being put out. But I don't think it's the worst. Thor, Love and Thunder, to me, was the worst. That was like one big gag joke that just made me gag. It wasn't funny. It was incredibly lowbrow. And I feel like this is kind of pulling on the same strings. But anyways, before I get on this tirade that I probably could go on it for like 2 hours just on this episode. But let's get into the things that I actually did like. Wong's storyline, it was kind of amusing. It had some funny moments. Wong is funny. Anything with Wong is hilarious or interesting. He is just the best. Like, I almost wish that he would just have a movie on his own. I think that would be interesting. So I did enjoy that. Even with the drunk girl storyline, like, I mean, it seems like that's like the narrative of this show is like all women are like drunks and constantly sad and obsessed with their dating lives and sad because all men are stupid, which they present all men as stupid on this show, except Wong, believe it or not. And I feel like it is like the worst of human beings on this show, are the worst of personifications of what these writers think humans really are, whether it be male or female. And like, if it's talking about our society of today, it's a really grim picture of it. Because if like all women are incredibly sad because all men are incredibly stupid, we're going to die out as a species. Because no one, female or male on this show, is intelligent in any form or fashion. So I don't know what that says about the greater world in general, but overall it makes me really depressed. It really does. But again, I like the Wong storyline. It was amusing, funny jokes. Loved the drunk girl. The dad, I actually kind of like him too. When he kind of had that, the shovel for burying the dead bodies or whatever kind of thing. I'm like, that's pretty legit. I actually did like him. That was actually a moment that I kind of did go, okay, I like this guy. This is somebody I can actually get behind on this show. He's got enough humor to him, and that I'm just like, okay, I like this guy. I really do like this guy. I wish he was more in the show. And I also did kind of actually enjoy Johnny Blaze. I thought he was pretty good comic relief. And I guess the comedy from some of the other characters that wasn't She-Hulk kind of landed a little bit better on this episode. Thought Johnny Blaze was a funny character. I thought the dad was funny. Thought Wong had some really good scenes. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the storyline between Wong and Johnny Blaze. Like, I enjoyed the back and forth between them. Thought that was actually pretty awesome, especially when it come to like Johnny Blaze setup, man. I thought that was pretty cool and funny. Truly actually funny, and that's something I haven't been able to say about Marvel in a very, very long time, but I did really enjoy that. I enjoyed the demon fight scene. That's like, I don't want high stakes for this show. I think high stakes would just be a little, like, we don't have to have end of the world moments every Marvel show or every Marvel movie. I feel like the low stakes kind of thing really works for this show. And I felt like the demon fight scene was high enough stakes that it got you interested, but low enough stakes that you're like, okay, win or lose, it really doesn't matter. Or what happens in this, it really doesn't matter. But I thought it was overall pretty interesting. I like the demons that come out of hell and was attacking everybody. I thought that was really funny, and I thought it was a pretty good fight scene overall. And again, the courtroom scenes, they work for me. I don't know why they work for me. I'm normally not one that's into like court dramas or anything like that, but it seemed like when this show is at its best, it's when Jennifer Walters is the lawyer and she's in the courtroom, and I feel like those scenes, I don't know, maybe make her feel more natural and kind of what I'm expecting of this show. And I really like them. I really do. And I think that's the stronger aspects of this show. Unfortunately, we just don't get enough of it. We get so much of the stupid. And I totally get it. People want to see the She-Hulk moments, but I feel like She-Hulk is an uninteresting character. And I feel like Jennifer Walters outside of the courtroom is a very uninteresting character. And so I like the courtroom scene simply because I feel like it gets me away from the monotonous, really lowbrow comedy and man-hating and show that this show actually is. That's personally my opinion on it. Now, as far as the bad, I mean, maybe 2022 is speaking with me, and maybe I'm looking at it through the lens of that perspective, but I'm like, wow, they really make She-Hulk really aggressive in her dating. Like, if that would have been the other way around, and that was a male, like, falling on a woman like that, or just carrying her off, or just making goo-goo eyes at her all the time, that would go off as really strange and really awkward, and you would have hate things all over the internet. And I don't want to be one of those people that's constantly pointing that junk out, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, it seems like every show, including this show, at times says that it's wrong the other way, but why is it funny that way with females doing it? I don't personally like it. I don't like Jennifer Walters when she is, or She-Hulk when she is constantly making goo-goo eyes at guys. Like when she just feels like this female empowerment means female pervert kind of way about her. I don't like that aspect of her. I really don't. I think that is where this show really goes off the rails. And maybe it's just me from all the 2022 things or the Me Too movement and what it's done to shows and movies, maybe taking effect on me a little bit. But man, I'm like, dang, she's really aggressive when it comes to dating, and I don't see how that's really cool in 2022. But that's one of the things that I really just didn't like. I feel like it's hypocrisy at its finest. And again, as much as I enjoyed Wong in this, it really didn't make any sense. His story really didn't make any sense on this. He's wanting to sue Johnny Blaze for opening up portals and people landing on him and the consequences that might occur from that. But I kind of feel like, what was he intending on happening by getting a lawyer to sue Johnny Blaze about this? Especially when he's constantly making threats about, well, maybe I should just take this guy out. Or, send him to like a hell dimension or something like that. If you really thought about doing that, then why are you getting a lawyer to do this? Like, that makes literally no sense whatsoever. I'm not saying that I hated the courtroom thing, because I actually really enjoyed it. But I'm just like, the premise of it just really doesn't make any sense. And as far as the She-Hulk goes, or Jennifer Walters, I don't know if I'm really liking this low self-esteem hero. Like, we have her, going on, what is it, Tinder, and she's not getting any, hits when it comes to guys, through her, which is odd because she actually is a very pretty woman. And then she does She-Hulk, and then she gets all these guys that are interested in her. And I'm like, is this really, and maybe again, this is just me as someone who has a daughter. I'm like, is that really a message that you are really trying to put out there of, well, I'm, a middle 30 aged woman, or in my mid 30s. I feel I'm incredibly lonely, and the only way that I feel like I can get men is to, be this She-Hulk. Like, that seemed like a terrible message. And then when she turns back into her, the guy that she's really into isn't into her because she's not the She-Hulk. I just feel like that's just a really terrible message to send to girls. I don't really understand that. It goes from, this show's weird in that way. It goes from this I am woman, hear me roar moment to like, I am like a sad, lonely woman that's about to get like a bunch of cats because I'm giving up on dating because I'm not smart enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not pretty enough. It feels like it's giving mixed messages, and I'm not feeling those mixed messages. I'm not into that. Like, I feel like, hey, if you're going to do this, I am woman, hear me roar stuff, do it. All power to you. Do it. I expect it from Marvel. But don't do this, this inner demon kind of like thing, because I really do. I feel like she's just one date away from just getting a bunch of cats and living a really sad, lonely life. And that it's teaching girls that the only way that, that they should, I don't know, self-hating thing, like, isn't that should be something that shows should be going away from, not trying to present more to, I feel like. And that's just someone who has a daughter. I don't really like shows that do that. I really don't. And maybe that's, I guess you could call that woke in me or whatever, but that's just personally me. I just don't like shows that do that. I feel like these low self-esteem shows are really, especially when it comes to females, really aren't shows that should be presented out there for young girls. That's just my opinion upon that. And like I said, stakes are so low that I almost kind of sometimes find it hard to care, because I feel like there's nothing there that's making me go, oh wow, I should care about this because something interesting is about to happen. And I just literally don't. Just don't. And then, of course, we get her attacked last episode, and we get nothing about that this episode. I'm like, well, that was a waste of my time. Like, that was interesting in trying to figure out why she was being attacked, and we get literally nothing about that. Like, that was kind of a waste of my time, I feel like. But overall, I mean, my final thoughts would be, like I said, female empowerment meets female pervert. I don't really quite understand the message. The message is really mixed in this one. It's really strange. And I just kind of feel like at this point, the writers are intentionally trying to piss their fans off. I really do. I felt like this whole thing with She-Hulk, fighting the Hulk and being better than everybody else, than the Hulk is, saying things like to the Hulk, you don't know what pain really is, or holding back your anger really means. Like, come on. Like, you're talking to the Hulk, probably the one person that has some of the worst demons in all of Marvel, and you're sitting there giving him a lecture over he don't know what holding back his anger is really about, when that's what his whole premise is about. So overall, I give this a 5 out of 10, and the only reason why I give it that high is because I did actually enjoy seeing Wong in there. I did kind of enjoy Johnny Blaze. That's about it. But overall, it's a mediocre show at best, at its best. But overall, guys, tell me how much you hated it, because I'm pretty sure you didn't love it. So I'll just end the video on that one. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.